Welcome to the Uncensored Sales Podcast. I am your host, Ryan Dowdy. Former director of sales and college athlete turned sales coach, I help high-achieving women leave their 9-to-5 and build six-figure businesses. Each week, I bring you a power-packed episode to help you master sales conversations and your mindset to inspire you to connect, sell, and serve in a way that feels good to you. Let's dive in. Confessions of a recovering control freak on the podcast for you today. Hello, friends. I am so excited that you are here, and I want to talk about an evolution that has happened inside of my life since I became an entrepreneur, and I anticipate it might happen in yours as well. So I am going to talk to you as a recovering control freak about how your life might change as you transition from employee to business owner. All right. So welcome to the Uncensored Sales Podcast. I am so excited that you are here. And I know that you're watching this because you identify in some way, shape, or form of being a control freak. And prior to becoming an entrepreneur, if you are new to the podcast, I led a 15-year corporate career where I was my last role, the director of sales for a digital advertising agency, grew a $4 million sales organization in just a couple of years and would have considered myself a control freak. I was a control freak at work. I was a control freak at home. I was a control freak in my relationships. And when I became a parent, I was a control freak about that as well. And I thought it was just my personality. I thought that was just my makeup. That was just who I was, that I liked to be in control. And I would pride myself on being very type A and very high D and just really liking being in control. And so when I became an entrepreneur, I obviously took those traits with me, right? I took it from what I was doing in my previous life and I brought it with me into entrepreneurship and became a control freak in my business. I wanted to control every single aspect of my business. I wanted to control lead generation. I wanted to control sales conversations. I wanted to control my Facebook group. I wanted to control what other people were doing. I wanted to control all the things. I wanted to control my social media. I wanted it all to be perfect and pretty and done. And I know that I'm not alone in these feelings because I hear from so many of you that this is a challenge that you have, right? That you are a control freak and it's not serving you. And so what I learned as my business grew very quickly, and I was very blessed for that to happen, is that I could no longer be a control freak. And in fact, being a control freak was keeping me stuck. It was keeping me in a place where I could only grow as far as my control would allow. And my control, my past wasn't very big. My past was as big as I'd gotten as the director of sales in a marketing agency. That was it. That's what I knew how to control. And at the time I had an infant. I had a 6-month-old, I think, when I finally started my business. And so then as this is all starting to roll, I have a toddler, I am pregnant, and I am 110% out of control of my life, feeling out of control of my career, feeling out of control of my business. And I could have let that melt me down. I could have let that be the opportunity to pack up my toys and go home and be like, you know what? This is just not meant for me. But I knew in my gut. I still know in my gut that this is my purpose. This is my calling. That God put this business on my heart for a reason, that I am meant to serve you. I am meant to serve women like you who have big dreams, that want to make a big impact, who have big goals. And I am meant to help you build a successful business quickly. That is my purpose. That is my skill. That is my spiritual gift. That is what I am here to do. And so it just was not an option for me to let my lack of control be the reason that I was going to stop. Let it be the reason that I wasn't going to be here today having this conversation with you. I just wasn't going to do it. It was not an option. So I had to learn to let go of control. I had to learn to stop obsessing over the way things were done or how they were done or the time frame they were done, or were they done exactly how I would do them. And this started everywhere, right? So first and foremost, it started at home. It started at home with allowing my husband to put my son to bed. And obviously, as a new mom, as all new moms, I knew everything. I was in all the message boards. I was in all the Facebook groups. I had read all the books. I knew exactly how to be a perfect mom. I hope you can hear the sarcasm in my voice, but I needed the time to work on my business. And at the time, we were not awesome at putting my son to bed. So it was a long process. He did not like going to bed. He fought going to bed. It was just a battle in general. And it was a solid 45 minutes every night. And you came out of his room, typically feeling somewhat frustrated and exhausted from trying to wrestle a tiny human to bed. There was no creativity left after that, right? There was no way for me to be able to be more creative or have more fun or show up in an inspired way in my business at all. So I had to let go of that control by allowing my husband to put my son to bed. And to this day, my son is, at the time of this recording, about to turn 4, and my husband still puts him to bed. I had to let go of that control. Even though as a new mom, I felt like, oh my gosh, I should put my son to bed. Like, this is my first child. I should want to do this. If I was a good mom, I would put my kid to bed, and I should not be prioritizing my business over putting my child to bed. And I had a lot of drama around that. But I realized that 45 minutes was really great bonding time for my husband and my son, but also gave me back 45 minutes of my evening to really focus on my business.
And then it started in my business. I started outsourcing some things. I started first with outsourcing my social media. I wrote my social media. I had somebody else make like graphics and schedule it for me. And so I started doing that. And then once I realized the more that I let go of control, the more room there was in my life. And in turn, the more room there was in my business for the things that I really enjoy, for the things that I'm really good at, for the things that really matter. And not to say putting my child to bed doesn't matter, but I don't think that my kid is suffering because mommy didn't put him to bed. Instead he thinks that daddy is just the coolest and they have so much fun at night reading stories and he got a new nightlight and they just love it, right? So my kid doesn't feel like anything is missing because mommy doesn't put him to bed, but instead I was able to trade that time. So there are three things that I think I really realized in learning to let go of control. And so much so that I have realized that actually, I don't think I was ever actually a control freak, right? It's like the same way I feel about imposter syndrome, that I think imposter syndrome is 100% made up. I think it is this thing that we made up to like call fear something pretty and make us feel bad about who we are or whatever. I just don't believe in that at all. And I think that's the same thing with control freak. Like I was self-diagnosed, but now that I live in a world where I actively don't have control of most things, as none of us really do, right? But I'm okay with it. Like I constantly am outsourcing. I'm constantly getting things off my plate. I'm constantly reevaluating my time and my calendar and what I'm doing and what we're teaching our clients. And are we teaching them things that they don't need? And I'm learning that less is more. Right? That I'm not actually a control freak. I was operating in the box that was built for me, or I guess the box that I built. But I had a high demand job. I had very little time at home with my family. That was the box that made me feel like I had to be in control. And that was the box that I was operating in. And now that I'm operating, I don't even have a box anymore. Like I get to operate wherever I want to operate because I have created the life of my dreams. It doesn't even cross my mind anymore to be a control freak. In fact, as things come across my desk, as they come into my email, my husband and I talk about things, it's not about how am I going to do this or how am I going to control the situation or how am I going to do it? It's just, no, we're done here, right? It's who can help with this or who can I delegate this to or who's going to handle this or who's going to champion this. Let me give you the perfect example and I'm going to break this apart for you a little bit. When this past summer, my husband and I decided to buy a house, and it was one of those, we're going to buy a house eventually type of deals. And then of course we found the house and everything got upgraded very, very quickly. And we were buying a house way faster than we thought possible. And we had the opportunity to close in that house either before we went on vacation or after we got back from vacation. We were going to Gulf Shores, Alabama for a week with my family. And so we had the opportunity before or after. And my husband said, I want to move before vacation. I think that we will just be so much happier if we move before vacation. I think that it'll be better. It'll be less stressful. We'll be able to enjoy vacation more if we don't. And I said, okay, but here's the deal. I'm working on like 3 major projects. I've got this, and this going on, and I'm not going to be able to help you pack. So if you want to move on that date, like you're going to have to own this project. Like I can do the logistics. I can hire the movers. I can, all the different things we need to do. I can make sure all of our utilities get moved over and that sort of stuff. But I cannot be part of the packing project. Like I need you to own that. And he said, okay, let's do it. And he literally packed and pretty much moved our entire house. And then we got to our house and we were getting ready to go on vacation. And so like my mother-in-law and my sister and some other people are here and they're unpacking my house. And a couple of years ago, that would have been very stressful for me. What are you doing unpacking my kitchen? Don't unpack my kitchen. Like it's my kitchen. It's got to be a certain way. But instead I'm like, cool, thanks. Like that's one less thing that I have to worry about. Can you just tell me where my dishes are? And, to this day, the dishes are still in the same place. And it just allowed me to realize that like, no, I was not a control freak. I was just trying to control things because I guess maybe I wasn't fulfilled in my career. I wasn't doing work that I enjoyed. I didn't feel in control of the things that were important. So I just tried to control everything instead. So here are 3 things that I have learned in learning to let go of control and really harness the idea that there are other people that can do things better than I do. So the first one is that it's not that serious, right? I used to think that it was so serious. It was so important that everything was done perfectly. It was so important that my social media was perfect. It was so important that my website looked fantastic. It was so important that we planned the perfect birthday party for our child. It was so important that I put nice meals on the table every night after working a 10-hour day. It all felt like it was so serious and it was so important. And what I realized is that none of it is important. None of it is important at all, right? Like I am blessed beyond measure in almost every area of my life. In fact, in every aspect of my life. Like I am just so unbelievably blessed and none of it is that serious. All that is serious to me is my family, my faith, and my clients that I serve. As long as those people are getting what they need from me, as long as my relationship is right with God, my relationship is right with my family, my relationship is right with my clients and my team, and I am serving them to my utmost ability, everything else does not flipping matter. Nobody cares what my social media graphics look like. They care that it's helpful. They care that they can connect to it. They care that it lets them know that they're not alone. That is what they care about. They don't care that the image is perfect, right? Nobody cares about my website. Nobody cares about my website at all. Like we barely still to this day, barely get any website traffic. It's not that serious. And if somebody does really want to work with me and my website doesn't depict that, they can just message me on social media and I can help them, right? So I really want you to think about, where are you taking things way too seriously that are not that serious? And I promise you, my friend, as a brand new business owner, if you're making less than $100,000 a year, hell, really at any dollar amount, it's not that serious. It's not nearly as serious as you feel like it is. It's not nearly as serious as you think that it is. And as soon as you stop treating it like life and death, it will stop feeling like life and death, and you'll be able to let go of that control a lot faster, right? Like the way my kitchen looks, not life or death, doesn't matter, not important at all. Right? And so really letting go of that control, that's not that serious. As long as I know where the glasses are and I know where the silverware is and I can feed my family, right? Like that is all that matters about my kitchen, that I put it away perfectly just all by myself, right? You know, the same thing with my kid. My kid sleeps a solid like 11 to 12 hours every single night. He's happy, he's healthy, he's smart, he has a good life. It doesn't matter. It's not that serious that I'm not the one that puts him to bed every night. His dad is, right? So it's not that serious. The second thing that I think is so important is this idea that we think we are the only ones that can do it right. I am the only one that can unpack my kitchen. I'm the only one that can, write my social media. I am the only one that can sell my services to my clients. I'm the only one who can, manage my books. That's not true, my friend. In fact, there are people that are better at things than you are. And when you hire them to do things for you, your life will become better. That you are not the only person who is going to do it right. And in fact, I would argue that there is no right way. There is no right way. There is just getting it done. Other people can do it as well as you can, if not better. I think that this lesson right here that I buried 12 and a half minutes into this podcast, that other people can do it just as well, if not better than you, and you should let them, is the single, arguably the best advice, the most valuable advice that you will ever receive. Because as entrepreneurs, we're like, oh my gosh, this is my baby. This is my thing. I'm not really making a whole lot of money. So can I really outsource that? Like, does this make sense? And all of this drama that comes into our head when it comes to outsourcing and not doing things that ourselves, whether it's the money, or we think that somebody's not going to do it as well, or we think it's not going to get done right, or our clients expect it a certain way. And we get over that idea of like, no, if I find somebody who can do it better, my clients aren't going to care, right? My clients aren't going to care as long as they're getting what they're paying me for, period. Right? So now that I know that other people can do it better, then I just find other people who can do it better than me. And I can spend more time doing things that I am actually better at, which is here talking to you, which is actually talking to my clients, serving my clients, spending time with my clients, brainstorming ways to help them make more money, spending time with them, spending time with my community here, talking to you about how I can help you make more money. That is how my time is best spent. Everything else, other people can do better. This is my zone of genius. This is my thing, right? That is where the magic happens. And then the final thing that I can tell you as a recovering control freak is that done is better than perfect every single time. And in fact, I'm going to put perfectionist right up there with imposter syndrome and tell you that it's made up. Wanting everything to be perfect is just another way of, I'm afraid to put this out in the world because I'm going to be judged for it. What will people think? What will they say? Right? You're not a perfectionist. You're afraid of being judged. Hello. Welcome to the human experience, my friend. Done is always better than perfect. As long as your heart is in the right place, as long as you are always thinking about how you can help people, how you can serve people, how you can be the best possible version of yourself for your family, for the people who care about you, and for your clients. That, my friends, is where the magic happens. The perfect social media graphics, the perfect sales page, the perfect sales pitch, the perfect package for your clients. None of that matters. None of that matters. Done is better than perfect because, frankly, what you start with will not be what you end with ever in business. Ever. It will continue to evolve. You'll continue to learn new things. Your clients will continue to give feedback, right? Done is always better than perfect. And this whole idea of I am a perfectionist is code for saying I am terrified of what people will think of this. And again, that's just part of the game. It's just part of the game. So 3 things, my friend. If you are a control freak, if you're feeling like a control freak, if you're being a control freak or a perfectionist or imposter syndrome or whatever you have that you think is keeping you from being successful in your business or outsourcing the things that you need to, or really getting the help that you need in your life day to day so you can run this business successfully, is that one, it is not that serious. Unless you are legitimately saving lives, it is not that serious. All right. I change lives in a big, huge way. I changed legacy for my clients. Total game changer, but it's still not that serious. I still can't do it wrong. I still can't screw it up as long as I do it for my heart. Other people can do it better than you, and you should pay them to do it for you because it's taking you forever and it's frustrating you and it's taking you out of your zone of genius. And then finally, done is better than perfect every single time. Done is better than perfect. Okay. But really ask yourself this question. Am I actually a control freak, or Or is that just the box that I have been operating in because it made me feel a certain way? I know for me, controlling work and controlling my family and controlling our schedule, it made me feel safe and secure. But I wasn't actually safe and secure. I would argue that none of us at any point in time are safe and secure. I don't know now if I'm any more safe and secure, but now for me, it is not about control. It is about finding the right people and putting them in the right places and letting me do the things I enjoy doing. And my life is so much more fun. You know, I don't do things I don't like to do anymore. I let my husband make dinner, even though he makes a giant mess in the kitchen and I would do it better, right? But that is one less thing that I have to do. One less thing I have to do. I let my husband dress our kids. And while their outfits aren't always perfect, that is one less thing I have to do. It is less brain space that I have to think of. So really, why are you calling yourself a control freak? And is it just because that is the box that you have always been operating in? Thank you very much for being here. If you love this podcast, we would so appreciate a review. If you would share on iTunes, go to iTunes, leave us a review. Let us know what you think of the podcast. And then if you're really enjoying it, feel free to share it on Instagram, tag us on Uncensored Sales, and we'll see you next week.
If your goal is to get your first or next client in the next 30 days, I want to invite you to join our 30-day quick start program called the Uncensored Sales Bootcamp. This bootcamp is for you if you're not sure where to spend time in your business or constantly feeling overwhelmed and stuck. I'm going to give you day-by-day training on how to take massive action in your business. If you are on the struggle bus in your service-based business, go to ryandowdy.com/sales bootcamp to get started immediately. This on-demand training gives you daily access to myself and Team Uncensored, a private Facebook community, and daily mindset work to get your first or next client in the next 30 days. ryandowdy.com/sales bootcamp to get started. See you in the Facebook group. I cannot wait to meet you.